Can whales talk to each other? Somewhere in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, a blue whale calls into the darkness. There is no coastline, no ships, no other whales in sight, just thousands of kilometers of open water. The sound disappears into the ocean, and then, far away, another whale answers, not a few meters away, not even a few kilometers, potentially hundreds of kilometers away. The two animals cannot see each other. They are separated by an ocean so vast that to us it feels almost impossible that they could even know the other exists. Yet somehow, they do. At first the explanation seems obvious. Whales communicate. Most people already know that. But that answer hides a much bigger question. Communication is only useful if someone can actually receive the message. So how can that happen in a place where visibility is often limited to just a few dozen meters? How can one whale find another without seeing it across one of the largest environments on Earth? For humans, distance usually separates us. The farther away someone is, the harder they are to reach. The ocean should make that problem even worse. It is enormous, dark, constantly moving, and almost completely empty to our eyes. Yet for whales, it isn't empty at all. Some scientists describe the ocean as an acoustic world rather than a visual one, a place where sound matters far more than sight. If that's true, then everything we think we know about distance underwater may be completely wrong. Because the real mystery isn't whether whales can make sounds, it's how those sounds can travel so incredibly far and still reach exactly the right listener. The secret isn't that whales produce unusually powerful sounds, it's that the ocean carries them. Water behaves very differently from air. Sound travels through it more than 4 times faster. More importantly, it loses far less energy along the way. For us, shouting across a city would never work. Buildings absorb the sound. Traffic drowns it out. The air itself weakens it. But deep underwater, the rules change. Blue whales produce extremely low-frequency calls. Many of these sounds are so deep that humans can't hear them without special equipment. And those low frequencies have an important advantage. They travel much farther before fading away. Instead of disappearing after a few hundred meters, they can continue for extraordinary distances. Scientists have recorded blue whale calls traveling hundreds of kilometers under favorable ocean conditions. That doesn't mean every call reaches another whale. The ocean is constantly changing. Temperature, pressure, currents, background noise. All of them influence how far a sound can travel. But together, they create something remarkable. For whales, the ocean isn't an empty space separating individuals. It's a medium that carries information. At this point, the mystery seems solved. A whale calls, the sound travels. Another whale hears it. Simple. Except that explanation answers only the smallest part of the puzzle, because hearing a sound is not the same as understanding it. If 2 whales can recognize one another's calls, or respond differently depending on what they hear, then something much more interesting is happening than sound, simply moving through water. Scientists have learned a remarkable amount about whale communication, but they are also careful about what they don't know. They know whales exchange sounds. They know many of those sounds travel extraordinary distances. They know humpback whales learn songs from one another. Entire populations can gradually adopt new versions of the same song over the course of months or years. That tells us these vocalizations are not completely fixed at birth. They can be learned, they can change, and they can spread. For years, most researchers believed the explanation was simple. One whale sings something new. Others hear it, they copy it, and slowly, the song spreads across an entire population. Scientists have documented cases of exactly this. A song first, heard off the coast of Western Australia, gradually appearing thousands of kilometers away, all the way to French Polynesia. Over the course of several years, it looked like undeniable proof of vocal culture. But in 2022, a researcher challenged that story. He pointed to something strange. Populations of humpbacks that have never had any acoustic contact with each other, separated by entire oceans, sometimes sing songs that are almost identical. If copying explains everything, how is that possible? Maybe the songs aren't purely learned. Maybe something in how humpback whales are built pushes them towards similar sounds, even without ever hearing one another. Nobody knows for certain. But that still leaves one enormous question unanswered. What exactly is being communicated? A warning? A location? An identity? Or something far more complex? Right now, science cannot answer that with certainty. Researchers continue to study whale vocalizations, looking for patterns that might reveal how much information is contained within them. Some findings suggest whale calls carry meaningful information, but that does not prove whales possess a language comparable to our own. The simpler explanation is also the more careful one. Whales evolved in an environment where sound is the most effective way to stay connected across immense distances. Over millions of years, evolution favored animals that could send signals farther, hear them more clearly, and respond in ways that improved survival. In other words, their communication system doesn't have to resemble human language to be extraordinarily effective, and perhaps that's the most surprising part of all. When we imagine the open ocean, we picture silence, an empty blue wilderness stretching beyond the horizon. But for a whale, it is anything but silent. It is a world filled with voices traveling through the water, a world where distance doesn't erase communication the way it does for us. The mystery was never that whales can make sounds. The mystery is that they live in a version of our planet where sound replaces sight, and where an ocean that seems impossibly vast to us can still keep two distant lives connected.